Happy hump day, everybody. Welcome to the REKAP Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey. Oh boy, is there some angst in the air right now. What's going on, everyone? It's Guff. It's all brought to you by our fine partners at Hooters. Go to originalhooters.com, visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. Order.hooters.com. You can get delivered straight to your office, straight to your door. It's a really good way to use it via DoorDash or pick it up at your local Hooters. All right. So this week has probably not gone the way that we all hoped or maybe even thought so far in this key pivotal 3-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers and Cubs lock horns again this afternoon. Shota Managa on the hill, and the Brewers have a chance to put the Cubs away and sweep them. Worst case scenario, right? Look, it's not the end of the world if the Brewers do get a sweep, but the Cubs being at the trade deadline 3 games back is not how this thing was drawn up even 2 weeks ago. The Brewers are red hot. They look like the better team right now. They look like the more confident team right now. They look like they have the better manager right now. That's very frustrating. We're almost 24 hours from the MLB trade deadline. And what's going to happen? We don't know. Supposedly, according to Ken Rosenthal this morning, still thinks the Cubs are going to be the most active trade team out there. I posed that question on social. That I think that brought up some feelings, and I get it because we don't know. And it seems right now that the names in the rumor mills is actually very much heating up. The White Sox sending Austin Slater to the Yankees this morning. I know a lot of people are going to be like, Austin Slater, the dude rakes against lefties. I knew he was getting traded. A really good sign and flip for Chris Getz. So the White Sox are on the board with the trade. Jay Hood and I did a podcast yesterday talking about the White Sox trade deadline, and I had the over-under at 3.5 players move. Let's get to the chat because there's a lot of feelings here. The real Phil Simms. Straight beatdown last night, completely unacceptable. If you saw Cap's recap, he was not happy. He was very unhappy. He's actually on his way to the game right now, and ESPN 1000 has an outing up there. Look, it's bringing the reinforcements day up in Milwaukee because the Cubs need a win. TJ thinks they look like garbage with all the holes on this team. The only reason I could see Jed getting the extension would be that he helps Tom make and save money. Bellinger's money still safely in Tom's pocket, while Bellinger is now having a better year than Tucker. Outside of Nico, who exactly would you want to give up in a key situation? Who would you want up in a key situation in the Cubs lineup? Not many clutch hitters on this team. Okay, I don't agree with that at all. There's been not many clutch hitters of late, maybe on this team, but Seiya Suzuki, from an RBI and a productivity standpoint, has been one of the best and most consistent players in baseball. Pete Crow Armstrong has the second most extra base hits in all of baseball behind Aaron Judge. He has more than Shohei Ohtani. Okay, and I know Kyle Tucker has had a bad July. But don't tell me that the Cubs have not had clutch hitters this year when 3 of them are amongst the better hitters in the game. And Michael Busch has had his moments as well. It just, everyone, they say hitting is contagious, right? And so far right now, it just seems, and I've seen this before with many first place teams, it seems that they need some kind of reinforcement, some kind of validity that, yes, we believe in you, and here are some extra reinforcements to take us down the stretch and into the playoffs. Jordo, Cubs manager Craig, do you do better? This is ridiculous. Lose 9-3. Time for new pitching. Go get Kyle Tucker signed before the deadline. Thursday's unhappy Cubs fans injection. Greg, David, Cap said swing ball. A lot going on there, but yeah, there's definitely just a lot of angst. Time for Presley to follow Flexen out the door, but will Jed admit that mistake? I think that's already been somewhat admitted. He's been demoted from the closer role since April, and there's no shot he's getting it back. It gives up a grand slam last night to, of all people, Andrew Vaughn, who just absolutely continues to rake for the Milwaukee Brewers. Is it maddening? I think a little bit. I've talked about this on the White Sox Recap podcast. I also don't feel bad or have any angst for Andrew Vaughn. It was never going to happen here. But with the Milwaukee Brewers, Andrew Vaughn is hitting .375 with a .439 on base, a slug of .771, and an OPS of .1209. It's absolutely insane. In 15 games, he has 5 homers and 21 RBIs. In 48 games for the White Sox, he had 5 homers and 19 RBIs. Exactly, Phil. That's exactly what I just said. My guy Pablo here in beautiful Medellin, Colombia, watching the REKAP Lunch Hour. Hope you're all well, and thanks as always for the show. Pablo, you are next level OG, my friend, in flipping Colombia, and you're sitting here with us. going to get a bunch of rain, it looks like, in the Chicago area today. Sox have already announced that game will be delayed. So we'll see what happens there. By the way, I came on a few minutes early today. I got a jet a few minutes early as well. That's why we're here. But I wanted to get off and running. And yeah, we're great. Be safe down there, Pablo. Be safe. Jordo, think we trade Ben Brown and Ryan or Assad and Colin Ray? I think everything is on the table right now, Jordo. I mean, there's no untouchables. And game over if Shota doesn't pull off. Like Shota had his worst start as a Cub, the worst start of his major league career last Friday against the White Sox. Let's see what happens. I've been saying this. I'll flip a table over if Jed doesn't get something done tomorrow. We're going to be live at 4:30 with a special MLB trade deadline show. I believe, let's see here. So yeah, we'll be live tomorrow at 4:30. Brian, welcome to the chat. Go get Joe Ryan. His years of control fit with their core for their current competitive window. If you can add them to add in Castro or Jax, Duran too, gravy. It looks like Duran has now become one of the biggest names, maybe more likely to move names out there. And if that's the case, he's probably the premier bullpen arm to go get. Now, can you go get Joe Ryan and Duran? All in. If you're the Cubs and you make a move like that, you guys should immediately change your tune. That would make the Cubs instant threats to me in the postseason. A legitimate back into your bullpen with Palencia and Duran. You add a upper end rotation arm to your to your starting rotation. And who knows from there, I think you still add that package would cost you significantly. You can't be scared. Like Jordo says here, go get something done. You can't be scared. Scared money's lost money. You got to make the move. Landon, as Harry Carey would say, recap spelled backwards is Packer. Wow. Hey, you added a C there, Landon. Harry wouldn't add the C. Come on now. The real Phil Simms, keeping it real as always. Sam, my thoughts on the Slater trade is it's a win. You signed Austin Slater for this exact reason. The hopes that he would have a good enough year to make a trade and flip him. That's the whole point of signing Austin Slater. I'm pulling this deleted it. They got a 22-year-old starting pitcher in return, the White Sox. It's a great trade. He had an 897 against left-handed pitching. The Yankees took there was no doubt in my mind. Like I thought the Cubs, I keep saying this, the White Sox actually had and have a number of players that make a lot of sense for the Cubs. Adrian Hauser was expected to start today for the White Sox. He's been scratched. Absolutely no surprise. I didn't see any scenario that he was going to make that start. And that just, to me, further solidifies the fact that he will be traded come tomorrow at 5:00. These Cubs stink. Where is Kyle Tucker? I understand. And Cap and I got in a heated debate yesterday about Kyle Tucker. Big players disappear at times, okay? They disappear at times. And in this case, Kyle Tucker, the problem with Kyle Tucker right now is that he's disappeared for a month. It's one thing to disappear for a homestand or a road trip, maybe even 14 days. But when you look at the whole course here, last 7 days, Kyle Tucker hitting 235 with a 752 OPS. Last 14 days, 194 with a 741 OPS. Last 28 days, 197 with a 630 OPS. He only has one home run and 7 RBIs in the last 28 days, and that's not going to cut it. Evan, this chat's going to be good. Well, let's fire it up, Landon. Sox game's going to start, as I mentioned, in a rain delay. Rob, the loss sucked, but the Cubs still have the third best winning percentage in Major League Baseball. Cubs fans can be so fickle, relax. They're still good. Rob, thank you for chiming in with that comment. I totally agree. This has been a bad stretch for the Cubs, who still have a winning month right now. They've been at or above 500 for 2 months, and I think that's what feels bad, is that the Cubs are 3 games over since June 1st, and it doesn't feel good right now when the Milwaukee Brewers are doing their things. And to my point there, I'm going to bring this up. The Chicago Cubs, and I'm going to compare them to the Milwaukee Brewers right now. So the Cubs since June are 26 and 23. 26 and 23. In April and May, they were 33 and 18, and they were rolling, and it looked good, and it felt good. When you compare that to what's going on right now with the Milwaukee Brewers, who are sitting at 64 and 43, and you look at their breakdown and how they've been of late, here's what they are since June 1st, 33 and 15. They're 33-15, and they've had take the 4 games out in March. They've been over 500 in every month. Very, very consistent. Welcome into the rain cap, Matthew. I'll believe it when I see it. Talking about will the Cubs be the most aggressive team at the deadline? Having brunch, bacon, and eggs. Go get it, Becky. I don't trust Hoyer, says Hawaii Profiles. Another day, another big hit missing from Tucker. I'm with Cap. I'm not seeing $700 million in his future playing like this. I'm not either. I don't think he's getting $700 million. I think it starts with at least a 4, though. And if you guys get paid for what they've done, not just what they do in 1 year. Guys get paid for the back of their baseball card. Yeah, Brujan finally got DFA'd. As I mentioned, Hauser was scratched. I'm not seeing the fire right now. They look asleep, bro. And it's like sometimes the dog days kick in a little early, and it looks like a team that just is asking for help. That's the way I look at the Cubs right now. They look like a team that's saying, Colin Ray, the rotation looks around, and they're like, we have given you everything we got. Please help. And that's what it looks like to me. And now it's up to Jed Hoyer and company to get it done. Matthew, why does the Cubs offense look so different now compared to April? Less stolen bases, less small ball, less manufactured runs. To do all of those things, Matthew, you have to be on base. You have to be collectively doing things. You can only do the little things if you have the traffic on the base paths to make it happen. And right now, the Cubs have not had it as a team. I'm going to pull something up here just because we've been hammering Kyle Tucker, and reasonably so. I'm not saying we should not hammer Kyle Tucker, okay? But I'm going to tell you something. When you look at the month of July, and the Cubs have just been kind of the Cubs in July, from an OPS standpoint, okay, the Cubs are 10th in all of baseball, which seems crazy. It's only 753, but this is a team. They're 10th of all of baseball in OPS in the month of July. And from a run scoring standpoint, they're 14th. They're right in the middle of the pack. They're right in the middle of the pack, which tells me even when they're not performing, they're still doing things. And we've grown accustomed to see the Cubs as a unit hit. Well, here's the other problem. When I look at the team pitching for the month of July, because when the hits aren't coming, usually you need the pitching staff to carry you. And the Cubs ERA in the month of July, right in this, just below the middle of the pack, they have a 4.37 ERA, 4.37 team ERA. They have a WHIP of 1.2. So it's just been kind of blah all the way. Presley needs to go. I don't think you're the only one saying that. If Jed doesn't make any moves by Thursday, rip up the extension and fire him on the spot. That's why when you announced the extension 2 days before the deadline, now the pressure's on. I agree with, they're not going to fire him, but I do agree with the spotlight is certainly on Jed Hoyer, brighter than ever. Jarrett, I trust that Hoyer's trying to, but the Cubs are in competition with several other teams in need of the same. Pitching. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see the Cubs being active. I think it's fair to say, and I'm keeping my Twitter open here as we, I don't understand. The Angels are buyers, which remember I said the Angels are going for it, like, because they're just a team that doesn't understand how to go get them. If you could fool the Angels, I would fool the Angels if I'm the White Sox. I'm keeping my eyes on X here as we try to figure out if anybody, you guys keep me posted too. If you see trades happening during this, let's go. Trey, hey Guff, been watching the last few days on Rewind. Cheers from Tulsa. RIP, rest in peace, Ryan Sandberg. No doubt about it. Appreciate all of you joining in. The chat's been very active the last couple of days, and I appreciate you guys in this show bringing it to you. Bring the questions. 4:30 tomorrow, we're doing the trade deadline special. Look forward to doing that. We'll have Jay Hood joining us. We'll have Gordon Wittenmeyer joining us. Swayze, something needs to happen ASAP. They need a jolt, coffee, a pitching, and another bat. Something. Godfather. Much better show without Mr. Know-It-All next to you. Yeah, Cap yesterday was chiming in next to me. I had to eventually turn the screen and get him on mic. I was like, hey, especially he came over the top rope on Godfather. I was like, be careful, man. There's a lot of us, and we all back Godfather. Trey, I'm in Owasso. Got multiple people here in Tulsa, which is awesome. Pablo's in flipping Colombia, for God's sakes. Nice pronunciation of Medellin, hermano. Thanks, Pablo. I'm cultured. I'm well-versed. Lip Ripper, if the Cubs don't make a trade, the chat will be on fire. Well, either way, if the Cubs haven't made a trade by this time tomorrow, the chat will be rolling. David Guff, the Brewers have definitely made a statement this week. Is it too late for the Cubs to be sellers at the deadline? They're not selling, guys. Dan, I think it was telling that Preister and Vaughn were big parts of the Brewers' win last night while Jed waits so he doesn't overpay. Jed's willing to, he has said on record that no one's untouchable from a prospect standpoint, and I think that's fair. I feel like we all need to kind of go to Hooters and have like a pre-trade deadline beer in a Big Daddy mug with mango cart or the big Kona Wave, Sam Adams Summer Ale, or the Michelob Ultra. Of course, the Repo Rita. 2 more days of the Repo Rita, $8. The drink of the month at Hooters. Those snow crab legs, $14.99 a pound. Of course, the OG wings, the boneless wings, the hamburger. Great lunch specials every day from 11 to 3. OriginalHooters.com. Visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. Order.hooters.com to come straight to your office, straight to your door. DoorDash takes care of that for you, or you can swing by, pick it up. Get the cinnamon pretzel bites to go. I'm a Guffy staple. We love it every time we order from Hooters. Back to the chat, which is very, very active. And where was I? Back. My goodness, look at all of this stuff here. Okay, Dan, we already had that one. All right, okay, Trey and Beck here giving each other's digits. Phil, Guff, what do you think will happen by tomorrow? Will Jed put up or shut up? I'm saying put up. I'm saying he's going to get something done. Thoughts on the Slater trade? Love it. Love the fact that they were able to bring in a guy for $1.5 million from Baltimore last year, identified the fact that he could rake against lefties, and they flipped him now for a pitching prospect. Evan, seems like Pomeranz magic is waning. Presley looks cooked. We probably need 2 bullpen arms now. Is there a good non-closer arm out there? There's plenty. There are a lot of great mid-level bullpen arms, late back-end guys. Like if you were to trade for Duran from Minnesota, I think Palencia goes to the 8th inning. And now you set your bull, you shorten the game, and that's what you're looking to do. David, my bet of the day is Vaughn to homer off of Shota. I don't hate that. He's like plus 370. I considered that. But, I mean, the way Shota pitched the other day, you might want to take like 3 or more homers for the Milwaukee Brewers. Hey, Guff, happy Wednesday. I know these last 2 games have not been good for the Cubs. Hopefully we can win today to stay 1 game back going into the weekend. Phil, is it true about the Cubs going after Shane Bieber? It appears so. And I just read something right before we came on here that the Guardians are, in fact, trying to trade Bieber and Steven Kwan. Kwan's one of my favorite players in the game. Greg Zeal, I believe is how you say it. That's the pitcher the White Sox acquired for Austin Slater. He immediately goes to Winston-Salem and is the 14th prospect in the White Sox system. That's a win, by the way. That is an absolute win for the Chicago White Sox. Eric, we definitely need pitching, plain and simple. Landon, in honor of Virginia McCaskey, the Bears will wear a VMH patch. They will not wear any throwback or orange jerseys this season. George says he always preferred teams' traditional jerseys only. I don't hate that. I'm good with the color rushes. And I think it's cool to have different uniforms. I'm cool with just going all blue. Just be plain and simple and you all season long. Daniel, welcome to the chat. The Cubs got to be ashamed by their performance on the verge to be 3 games back at first. Looks like last year all over again. God help us. When are the Cubs going to be great again? They might be great again in just a couple of weeks. Let's just see what happens. They might be great again in a couple of weeks. Matt, saw Correa interested in going back to Houston. It would be very interesting with all the moves they have done in the last year. Makes a ton of money. He's had back injuries. That's probably a deal where if you eat a lot of the money, you're not the cost is not going to be as significant as maybe somebody would think. I'm with you on that, Phil. Scared money's lost money, my man. I left the CN guy. You sound like Clyde. Well done, Jarrett. Season isn't over even if we get swept, but I think we're going to have to play with who we have. Yeah, I don't think the Cubs are capable of winning the division now with the current roster. That's a change in tune for me because I expect the Cubs to be very active at the deadline. They can't just keep running out the same group every day. Over under 4 more Sox guys getting dealt. I set the over under at 3.5 on the podcast. I said 4 would be moved. We're 1 in. Hauser's going to be moved. I think Savali's going to be moved. Luis Roberts going to be moved. That's 4. It's time to move Luis Roberts. Spidey, the Cubs are getting swept. Balin, thoughts about Hauser and Tauchman getting traded? Tauchman also could be the 5th. I think they're both gone. I think the prospect you could get if you package both of those guys, say to the Cubs, could be a really nice return. It's not going to be a top 100 prospect, but something that's going to be very intriguing. Tauchman does have 1 more year of control, so that you're not getting a bag of balls for him. Since Tucker disappeared for a month, more millions should disappear on a contract. Sometimes that happens. Sean, do you think the Cubs make any trades by tomorrow? I think they make multiple. Glenn, have to improve the bench. Swanson and Horner can't play every inning. Reminds me of Kessinger and Beckert in 69. Same guys play every day and get worn out. They're calling for help. That's the way I look at it. Do I think the Brewers Sox ruined Vaughn's development, or he ruined it and actually listened to the Brewers. Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both. I think there needs to be accountability on both sides. And sometimes a change of scenery. He was traded to the Brewers, immediately sent to the minors and had to ride the buses as he was doing in Charlotte. Gets his opportunity, and boy, oh boy, has he delivered. Or the winning organizations, man, they figure it out. Pope Leo the 14th received a Sox City Connect jersey at church. I saw that. Wish it was a traditional Sox jersey, though. Channel 4 news team being honest about the bullpen and starting pitching regression that's happening before our very eyes equals being fickle now. No, I think there needs to be a little bit of reality check to look at the whole season and not be so microscopic on what's happened since the trade or happened since the All-Star break. Junk in the box. Welcome to the chat. How Ben Brown is still on this team is mind-boggling. If Jed doesn't pull off any moves, fans will lose their minds. But if we get swept today, 3 games back isn't the end of the world. Yeah, there's a little bit of both there, Junk. I agree. I think Ben Brown's here as a placeholder until the first trade's made and you get him back down to the minors. I mean, they can't keep riding him out there. Although he did pitch well. 7 shutout innings because Luzardo and the Cubs had a deal in place. I'm sorry, the Phillies and the Cubs didn't like the medicals, and Luzardo's having a really good year. Mandy, welcome to the trap. Jed sucks. Tucker trade is a D-. Bellinger has been just as good. Gave up who would be by far our best infielder in Paredes, and you gave up Smith for a year of a guy he's not going to re-sign. Jed sucks. A lot of frustration and angst out there towards Kyle Tucker. Hoyer's MO is to wait until the top targets are gone. Sam, what's up, Guff? Would love the Cubbies to get a guy we can throw out there in the 8th and be lights out. Mandy, let anyone that don't pay anyone but will pay Swanson and Hayward. I hear you guys. I hear you. Let's get to the bet of the day. I know, Pablo, I'm sorry. They're not on me, my friend. They're not on me. We actually cashed last night. I gave you the 2 strikeout prop there of Sonny Gray and the kid from Cincinnati. And they both got it done and a minus 112 clip. So we cash. I'm giving you 2 today. Now, keep in mind, the White Sox-Phillies game is So got 2 plays here. We're counting them as 2. The parlay we won't count. I like the Phillies over team total. Adrian Hauser scratched on the south side. It's a bullpen game. Tyler Alexander will get the start against Tyjon Walker for the Phillies. I think the White Sox, it's a tough spot for the White Sox today. I just think it's a tough spot. Still warm, although it's cooling off with the rain. I don't know if the rain washes this one out, so be careful there. The roof is closed in Milwaukee. PCA over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That's another play at minus 115. Let's get 2 today. Let's try to get that White Sox game in because it is the Phillies. They aren't returning, so I do expect them to do everything they can to get this done. A couple more guys. I'm not going to get all of them in here. But a couple more for all the Cubs haters out there. Relax, like Rob Page said. We have the 3rd best record in baseball. Just relax. Still have 2 months left. A lot can happen. Balin, what are my thoughts about Hauser and Tauchman? I've mentioned that already. I think I think Hauser's a lock to be traded. I think Tauchman's likely. Council overrated as you know what. 2 guy has 0 energy. Seems like he doesn't give a shit and he only cares about his fat check. Mandy, that's harsh realities, but I completely understand that. I completely understand because right now it looks like the best manager is on the other side of the dugout. It really does. Phil, because of what's happening now in Milwaukee, the 5-game series in August will decide the division. I'm convinced now more than ever. You're probably right. That one, I don't feel like this series was ever going to decide the division, but I do feel like that was always the one, but particularly now. Cubs offense goes as Tucker goes, which would mean, Ira, that he is the pivotal key to the offense. Jed needs to land someone like Griffin Jacks. The way the Cubs played in April and May means nothing now. The good teams ramp up in July and August when it matters. However, I do think it matters that they played well because if you were chasing right out of the gate and then you had this type of stretch, you'd be in a tough spot. Michael put Hat back in the leadoff spot. It's interesting. They tried something different there. It doesn't seem to be working. Has been a double A player the last 3 months. 3 of the first 5 innings. Matthew last night had runners on second and third with less than 2 outs and couldn't score runs. They're getting traffic, but not getting the big hit right now. Yeah, and that's it. Guff, they better not be a repeat of 2010 with the Bulls. They struck out on the superstars, settled for Corver and Boozer. Don't make the same mistake. Jed, and let's see here. Curious, Jonathan, who the Sox will trade. It's getting interesting to see who they will get. Hauser, Robert, it's time. Hoodie and I did a podcast. It's on the channel. It's on wherever you listen to podcasts. It's time for Luis Robert Talkman, probably. I think Savali as well. I think so. You'll get 4 or 5 guys. Great background today, OD. Appreciate you. We got the Beatles and the '05 White Sox, and then the '85 Chicago Bears. The Andrew Vaughn Revival Tour continues. Yeah, White Tiger, he's not getting traded. He's suspended until at least August 31st on Class A. David, the Bears are going to wear 76 of their helmets to honor Mongo. That's pretty awesome. The Dead, Cubs need a win today. Moises Ballesteros is up and is the DH today. And Aaron, I love the Cubs, but the Brewers look better. They have elite pitching and pretty good situational hitting with good speed on the pads. Cubs have decent hitting, not so much lately. I think the Cubs have great hitting, and they just haven't done it well. And lastly, Bailey, after the All-Star break, the White Sox have not gotten swept, and it's also impressive they got a nice victory over Philadelphia. They've looked really good just across the board as they're one of the highest scoring teams in all of baseball since the break. Really good stuff. Unfortunately, have to wrap things up today. Had to jump on a little early. This chat has been lively the last few days, and I love it, guys. Tomorrow at 4:30, we will have a live trade deadline special for you that'll take you through the deadline at 5 o'clock and into the 5 o'clock hour as trades pour in and we get going. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Hey, protect the basements today. A lot of rain's coming. Don't think about the Guffs right now, too. I'm just going to put that out there. We could use a little bit of, as a community that relies on each other for support. Our family could too. And that's all I'm going to say right now. So I appreciate you greatly. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.